What do you think when you hear the name Savannah Marshall?
Hater. First word that comes to my mind. I could just feel like the tension, you know, like she just was like a little tense, you know, maybe, I'm not gonna say scared, but she definitely, her heart beat a little bit more faster when she see me. I don't know if it's a crush or what.
What do you think about when you hear the name Claressa Shields?
I'm not scared of you, that's why I'm here. You didn't come to America. I came here. I came here. You didn't come to me. I'm chasing you. We can go. Let's go.
I feel like I want to say I can't stand the girl, but it is what it is.
They should call themselves the GWOAT.
After I beat her, she can start calling me the GWOAT, can't she?
I am the greatest woman of all time.
She's always been creeping about in the background for me.
The girl that I want is Savannah Marshall. That's why I'm here.
I know Claressa can't handle my power. I think I've got the power to knock anyone out. I punched too hard for Claressa Shields. She doesn't want to know.
All the kidology, the mind games.
I'm not scared of you. That's why I'm here. Do it. I can't wait.
Claressa Shields!
I'm chasing you. We can go. Let's go. Win.
What a time to be into boxing. Savannah Marshall! The big blockbuster that awaits us.
Growing up in Hartlepool was great. We never really had a lot, but I never ever went without. I had a great mum and dad, great family, great friends. I was very sporty, so I loved playing sports, netball, football. I walked into a boxing gym because one of my friends had a little plastic trophy and I seen it glistening in the sun. I thought, I want one of them. Curiosity took a hold of me. I was more curious than anything. I remember going up the steps and I heard the music blasting, the bags being punched. And I was stood at the door looking through the glass and I thought, oh, I want to go in. And looking back now, at that age, considering how painfully shy I was, I can't believe I'd done that.
How did a young girl from Hartlepool grow up to be one of the hardest hitting female fighters in the world?
I haven't a clue. I haven't a clue. I remember there was one time, I think my mum got a discount on loads of steaks and all we ate for about a month was just steak and chips, steak stew, steak and dumplings. So that must be it.
How do you want to be remembered in the sport?
Everyone's talking now about like the evolution of Savannah Marshall. I went from like a mute to like the not so silent assassin.
Come on, mates.
Don't worry.
Relax, like talk to your mate.
Relax, talk rubbish, talk whatever you want.
My name's Savannah Marshall, I'm 23 years old, I'm from Hartlepool. I started boxing when I was 12. I won my first 26 fights. I hate running, can't stand it. I run every day, never ever get any better.
That was always the thing with Savannah. She was nervous. If you speak to her about her amateur days, when she went to the Olympics, she did freeze. And during the professional game, she's gone from in the middle of cards to now headlining arenas, to now selling out stadiums, to now selling out places in Newcastle that she could only dreamt of.
When I first met Savannah, it was way back in probably 2010. Something like that. She was boxing for England. We went up to Sheffield. It was a great story, actually. Myself, Johnny Nelson, and Adam Smith, we all went up to Sheffield because we went to see Savannah because she was a girl that had unbelievable talent but didn't believe in herself. Confidence was a massive issue with Savannah. You know, she had a history of winning Commonwealth Games, crashing out of the World Championships, you know, winning the Europeans, crashing out of the Olympics. It was like every time she won a title as an amateur, The pressure was on her shoulders. She crashed out at the next championships. She didn't know how to handle the pressure. I think that we went up to see her. Yeah, I'll tell you the story. We went up to see her, and she was just this really shy, timid, lovely girl, but really shy and timid. In fact, you would never believe that she was a boxer. That was her sort of personality. And we went up there, and Brendan Ingle, Johnny used to be from the Brendan Ingle gym, and they used to work a lot on confidence and stuff. And what Brendan used to do as part of the training regime, when a kid come into the gym, and I went up to Brendan's and done this training as well, when a kid come into the gym, Brendan would say, get in the ring. So you get in the ring. He'd say, sing Colours of the Rainbow. What are you going on about? And the whole gym's there. So you feel a lot of pressure. But now I understand it, because I was sort of like, you know, now I look back on those days. At the time I think, what's he going on about? He says, sing Colours of the Rainbow.
I can see a rainbow.
Oh yeah! Let's laugh, come on!
See a rainbow too.
All right, then we're going to try again with that stuff.
Red and yellow and pink and green.
Go on!
Orange and pepper and blue.
Hallelujah!
Should we go red and yellow and pink? But you felt like really intimidated by the whole situation. So we done that when we went up with Savannah, because she had this confidence issue. She was so scared to sing the song. It was something that I always remember, and you could see the lack of confidence in her. And I was never sure that she was going to make it, because I didn't know if she could make that transition. I didn't know if she would ever find that confidence in her, because I was like, that girl's so talented, but she just don't believe in herself. And if you don't believe in yourself in boxing, you're in trouble. You know, that you need that self-belief. And she discovered it. And I'll tell you how she discovered it, by teaming up with Peter Fury.
She's a perfect student. She's strictly business. She adheres to diets, training regimes, whatever you throw at her, she does. You know, you couldn't ask for a better person to be with, to train with. You know, no nonsense type of person. Strictly business.
Yeah. Double tap, left hook. Double tap, right, left hook.
I always knew I could dig, and then I remember getting with Peter, and Peter showed me how to punch properly.
So turn with this, come back with this.
When she first came, she had that amateur style, so all of her punches was wrong. She was arm punching, there was light, tippy-tappy kind of stuff, and yeah, probably a little bit within herself. You know, very unsure. You know, and that's all I can say really. You know, just a young girl in a sea full of sharks. You know, that's what it reminded me of when I seen her. I thought, Jesus, she doesn't know what she's in for.
Big up, yeah, go there, yeah, stand it up. So straight forward, not coming round there, just straight.
I'll tell you how innocent she was, to give you an idea. She was telling me, you know, I can't believe it, the Mayweathers has picked me. She says, you know, she had like, I don't know, twilights in the air, you know. It was like she'd already made it before she got there. You know, this is it. You know, it's going to be one big holiday, you know. I never said anything. I never told her what it was going to be. I just agreed with her, actually, because why do you want to piss on somebody's chips when they're so excited, you know? And she trained Dad, pulled her up a few times, you know, and she went over there a week before the fight, and she come back in the dressing room. I don't even think she could wait to get her gloves off. She was so excited, and she rings me and says, Peter, it worked. I did exactly what you said. You know, I'd done exactly what you said, and it paid off. Yeah, I beat her easy.
He installed that confidence in her, he made her believe in herself, and now that comes out and that shows in her performances. And she's improved as a fighter, but she's developed as a person. And I think that was the most important thing with Savannah. She was one of those people that had all bags of ability as an amateur, but just didn't believe in herself. And I think we're seeing her now, you know, in more recent times, since she's been with Peter, she started believing in herself more and more, and you see that coming out in her performances. So yes, it's an incredible journey where she's come from to where she is now. She is, you know, arguably the best woman fighter in the world, and we're going to find that out.
We've seen big rivalries in boxing. I'm not sure if we've seen one where two fighters have been so pegged to each other throughout their entire careers.
This rivalry goes back to 2012 when they last met. Savannah Marshall won that fight. The rivalry started then, and I think that we've seen in recent times is something that Claressa wants now. She wants to reverse that. She needs to reverse that. She won't be able to sleep properly at night until she reverses that loss to Savannah Marshall. It's something she wants so bad. That's why she's willing to come to England to put it all on the line. But she's fighting a different person in Savannah now. She's fighting a girl that believes in herself. Before, she didn't believe in herself.
I think it's the most anticipated fight. I think it's the one that the fans are going to enjoy more than anything. I think it's the one that's going to attract more eyeballs to the sport than ever before.
Shields versus Savannah Marshall, that is definitely a grudge match because, you know, Savannah's the only person to give Claressa Shields a loss, and Claressa wants her revenge. She wants to get that win back, and so she's going to be coming into that fight with a chip on her shoulder, fighting hard, and trying to prove to everyone that Savannah Marshall is not what everyone thinks she is and that she's the GWOAT.
I think if you perform like that against me, I'll absolutely wipe the floor with you. You couldn't wipe my drawers, you hear me? You can't do shit with me. You know what, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, see?
Usually when something happens in the amateurs and they go on to fight as pros, it's not as deep as it is now. They're obviously both world champions. They've veered off in their own directions. And it just seems like the perfect time for them to come back and fight each other.
I got 5 belts over there. You got 1.
It'll soon be over here.
It'll soon be over, please.
It's a fight of unknowns, really. And we're all going to have an idea of how we think the fight's going to go. But really, it's one of those fights that none of us really know until that first bell rings. That's when you know you've got a great fight.
Claressa's quite comical. There's nothing that she says or can do that can affect me personally. In 2016, Team GB went to Colorado for a training camp, so we were there for 2 weeks. Me and Claressa were the only middleweights there. For the first 10 days she didn't spar because she had a bad back, and then she hurt her hand. So on the last day we sparred, we done 4 rounds and she threw about 6 shots. So if she feels like she beat me up with 6 shots, you know, maybe she is the GOAT.
I think it's the biggest women's fight of all time, but it's definitely the biggest rivalry in women's boxing history.
I didn't talk a lot growing up. I didn't talk till I was 5. And then at the age of 11, I started boxing. I look at where I come from like the bottom. I don't think people realize like what the bottom is. Like when I won the Olympics, before I left home, I didn't even have a bed to sleep in. I went through some things growing up. Like I got sexually abused when I was 5 growing up, and that kind of made me be really angry and confused toward people. When I got ready for the Olympics, when I was winning the PAL tournament, the nationals, the continental championships, going to the world championships, I didn't have a bed till after I won the Olympics, and I was at 17. So from the ages of, 14 through 17, or even before that, I was like sleeping on floors. And people wonder like why I'm so hungry, and because I have to do for myself, because if I didn't, me and my family would have been poor forever. And it was like, I'm not gonna settle for that. Like with the skills I have, I'm gonna do something with them. I have to win the Olympics. I have to win the world championships. It's like, I don't hate these girls, but it's like, they don't understand how much I have to win. Like they don't get it.
I see Claressa as very awkward. She's very good with the feints. She's got good movement, very good hand speed, fast feet in and out. That's why she landslides people on points, because she just out punches them. That's why she's a good champion.
It was a whirlwind just getting there, and I never quit. After I lost to Savannah Marshall, I probably was very, very angry about it and had a huge chip on my shoulder for like a few weeks. But I got back to training, and it made me just train harder. Being young and being undefeated, maybe then I can say I was a little cocky then. But after the fight with Savannah Marshall, I wouldn't say that I was humble, but I just believed that we gotta work till we can't breathe no more.
I think it's her ability to control the space, and her timing is perfect. Her shot selection is perfect. She doesn't waste a lot. She's got good hands, she's got good speed. Although she hasn't got a big knockout ratio, she is quite heavy-handed, you know, and I think that's what makes her so dangerous.
There's a few boos here for you, but that doesn't bother you, does it?
Boos don't matter. See, they boo me because I'm great, but guess what? I'm gonna be great too when I come back here and beat up Savannah Marshall here in front of all her fans and all her friends.
Being the greatest woman of all time started, you know, I have to say at the age of 14. You know, I was 11 and I was just working out hard, training hard, and one day that coach told me it was a girl that fought at 178, Tyler Laura Wilder, and I weighed 156 at the time. And he said, hey, she'll be coming down in a few weeks and I want you to get some work with her. She was ranked #2 in the world. So she walked in our gym and oh man, she was so big. And I'm talking about this girl was stacked like a Ann Wolf, but she was white. She walked through the door and everybody like, who's she here for? And I was only 15. So we got in the ring and he asked the girl how many rounds she wanted to go. She looked at me up and down. I was a skinny little old thing, and she said, I'll give her about 6 rounds, but she'll quit in 4. And I looked at her like, what did she just say? And I mean, when I tell you, I went in there and I pieced her up bad. She was touching my hands when we got out the ring. She was like, girl, these little bitty old hands was hitting me like that. Just from that day, I was like, wow, I just beat up the girl who's ranked #2 in the world at 178 pounds. We're on to something.
She's a perfectionist, she's a winner, she's 100% in everything she does. She even started doing things in MMA because I think she ran out of things that she could achieve in boxing, and Savannah Marshall was that last tick on her list. And I think for her, she looks back, it eats her up. She's never lost. She had 64 amateur fights with 1 loss. She's won every fight in the professional game. She's won every belt. She's multiple weight world champion, 26 years old. I think people forget that as well.
I think it's one of the most obvious fights to make in boxing. A 10-year history, like the backstory. Savannah being the only person to ever beat Claressa Shields in a boxing ring. I just think the time is right for that fight to be made. And it's such a clash of styles. I look at it, and as soon as I saw it kind of simmering and beginning to look like it was going to be made, it just had all like the familiar symptoms of like a superstar fight. It reminds me of a bit like a Mayweather Hatton, the clash of cultures, the clash of styles. The UK versus the US. I just think it's a fight that just had to be made.
Savannah Marshall does want to stand in front of you at some point in the summer. She'll be here on Saturday night at ringside watching. What's your thoughts about that? You want her, don't you, as much as she wants you?
Pay attention, baby. That's it. You're gonna be ringside. Pay attention, because it's different from when you see it on TV and then you sit in ringside and you hear those shots and you see my opponents look in her eyes when I hit her and she go back to the corner and she's defeated. It's different when you're actually there, because she's gonna be able to experience that and then see if she still wants to fight, whether she wants to or not. It has to go down.
She's the only boxer ever to get anything off you, to get a decision win. Is that burning inside you to get that revenge?
I'm too successful to burn inside of me. I got 12 world titles, 3 different divisions. If she wanted to fight me, we could have fought at 54, 60, or 68. There's no way I let a girl who I beat in the amateurs come pro and win 3 different divisions and 12 world titles, and I'm better than her. It's no way it happens. So therefore, she knows she can't mess with me. I'm a workhorse. I train very, very hard. And I love people. I love meeting new people no matter where I'm at. If they want a picture, they want an autograph, they want a hug, you know, I'm like, hey, what's up? But people don't really get that interpretation of me from me being a fighter. You know, it's like I'm very, very nice to a fault, though. If you're mean to me, I'll be mean to you. But if you're nice to me, I'll be nice. But
don't know. People like to be, you know, I guess pull my card every now and then. 50 minutes. First of all, what up, y'all? Thank y'all for coming. You're saying people really got trust issues in this world. Oh, yeah. This case where I'm like, hey, oh. Hey, friend.
And now, please welcome your WBA, WBC, and IBF World Middleweight Champion, Claressa Shields.
She swapped the slippers for boxing boots this time. The WBO Middleweight Champion, Savannah Marshall, watching on as Claressa Shields defends her 3 belts and the Ring magazine against Emma Kozin, who is unbeaten. Claressa only 26, amazing to think that. And she's had 11 pro fights. As the clock ticks down, the 23-year-old princess from Slovenia, and she hasn't laid a glove on her.
The greatest woman of all time, Claressa
to get out the way because the girl that I want is Savannah Marshall. That's why I'm here. She know that's why I'm here, and that's why she came. And I done my job, so her job is March 12th, and then I'll see her back here.
Well, let's bring her in right now, Savannah Marshall. Savannah, just come and stand here, and we'll bring in Ben Shalom first. Ben, the pressure shifts to you. This is a super fight for women's boxing. Can you make it now and next?
Yeah, I think we're going to talk to Dimitri Talita after this. I think, first of all, it's a pleasure to have Claressa Shields over here, and great performance. Emma Kozin as well was very tough. But, you know, Claressa calls herself the greatest woman of all time, but I'm sorry, you have a loss on your record, and it's Savannah Marshall. And I think Savannah is probably the only girl that has what it takes to beat Claressa, but we'll see. But it's up to me, Dimitri, now to try and make, as you say, probably the greatest women's fight of all time.
Thing is, with obviously, I've got this fight with Famke Hermans, and then get past there, and then I've got a massive fight with Claressa on the horizon. But for me, that fight with Clarissa's always been there. The rivalry's always been there. The to and fro's always been there. So there's nothing really different. That it's not. I would never say it was a distraction because it's always been there anyway. And I am quite focused anyway, and I know that Famke's no mug. She's a former world champion. She's only ever been beat off world champions, so she's very experienced, and I would never underestimate her. She's no doubt she'll be the best opponent I've been in the ring with.
Tonight, the multiple world title winning Claressa Shields is here to finalise her fight with the Northeast's very own Savannah Marshall. That is, though, presuming Savannah manages to retain her WBO middleweight world title here in Newcastle. Good to see you, Claressa.
Now, welcome your WBO middleweight world champion, Savannah Marshall.
She's looking down. Savannah pretended to be asleep. The GWOAT is here. She won her semi-final against Emma Kozin. Now Famke Hermans comes in to try and spoil this highly anticipated clash. She went the distance with Shields. She's a tough pro. She's been a world champion. Hartlepool, Savannah Marshall.
She's just comfortable in wherever she goes, whether that's southpaw or orthodox. She never had an amateur used to switch at all, but now you can just see whichever foot she lands on, whichever way she's standing. Great shot at the top.
Lost the balance of it. Famke Hermans. Famke Hermans! And it is over! A stunning statement from Savannah Marshall. There's the power. It's another KO. It's a dramatic defense of her world middleweight title. The crowd are going wild.
Claressa, I will comes straight to you. You cannot not show any respect for that performance and give Savannah her dues.
Congrats, that's what you're supposed to do. I said that she would do that with Femke. But I'm not Femke Herman. I'm not Hannah Rankin. I'm not any of those girls she fought against. And as much punch power as she has, I'm sorry to tell you, if that's what I gotta look forward to, it's gonna be a wipeout.
The question we always get asked, isn't it, is the beef real? Between these two right now, Savannah Marshall, Claressa Shields, there is absolutely no love lost.
Listen, I'm an ex-fighter, and it's very hard to hustle your way through, pretend your way through. You get exposed. With these two here, Savannah Marshall and Claressa Shields, Claressa takes this stuff personal. You call her out, she's not running away. She's arguing with security trying to get in the ring. Savannah's not running from anybody. She's saying, why are you naked? You want to doing that to me on my badge. This is for real. Do not be kidding. Do not be conned by it.
Well, do you know what? It has been an absolutely brilliant night here in Newcastle and an absolutely stunning one for Savannah Marshall. No doubt inspiring the next generation of fighters here this evening.
Now to what's being called the biggest fight in women's boxing. Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall will settle their rivalry on September the 10th at the O2 Arena. There's no love lost between the two, but only one can be the undisputed middleweight champion.
Some fights you get away with it, but to me, it's not spending top of them. Your eyes are just be somewhere you're looking to come that.
Hello, go ahead. Bring Claressa down slightly early just to crack on and get it done.
So we'll do left side?
We'll do both.
We're going to do both sides, so whatever side you decide.
Before we sit everyone down and go for it. Thanks, mate.
That's it, ladies. Straight down to me, please.
Just looking all into camera, guys, in 3, 2.
Two feuding rivals, one undisputed title. On September the 10th, we have a very special fight on our hands. Claressa Shields, Savannah Marshall. Welcome to the Gloves Are Off. What happens if you lose?
I don't even answer those type of questions because there is no what if I lose. That's why I wouldn't go to the gym if that was the case. I wouldn't fight her if that was the case. I'm gonna win. It's not no what happens if I lose. There is no if.
It's unthinkable. Is that what you're telling me?
When I win, what's going to happen? I'm going to shoot into superstardom and continue boxing.
Impossible. You cannot lose.
No.
Do you think she'll be able to take a loss?
I don't know.
Because she don't know.
I think we'll never see her in the boxing ring again.
Please.
Savannah, have you thought about defeat?
Of course I have.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
And?
It's not happening.
You lost right there. Thinking about it.
You think it's possible?
Of course it's possible.
Lost again.
Why did I make this fight? It's a fight everyone wanted to make. This is a fantasy fight. This is a fight that you think about as a fan that you want to see. I mean, Claressa Shields is someone that we've admired for a long time and is someone that has become a superstar of the sport, a face of the sport. And Savannah Marshall, the biggest rivalry in women's boxing, a rivalry that has gone on 10 years since 2012 when Claressa was over in London and sort of rose to superstardom by winning gold, and Savannah Marshall in the very same year winning gold in the World Championship. So since then that rivalry has developed and developed, as the women's sport has. And now we're in a position where we've got something very, very special in the sport and something definitely for the first time.
Hello, a very warm welcome to Banking Hall in the city for this very special historic day. Shields Marshall is on. The press conference is just around the corner.
Claressa needs that more than Savannah does. She's that kind of character where she needs to be pumped up. She needs to have a reason to want to smash your face in. whereas Savannah is getting the job done, and it's a work in progress. So I think one needs it more than the other.
Savannah Marshall, she got lucky in 2012, but she won't get lucky in 2022.
The reality is, she doesn't beat me, she didn't before, and she won again. And that's what it is, and it kills her.
It burns inside of you that I got 2 Olympic gold medals and you have 0.
I'm gonna hurt you, and I'm gonna outbox you, and that'll be the end of all this GWOAT rubbish.
I don't reign supreme for no reason in 3 different weight classes. This is one of the biggest fights in women's boxing.
This fight has been a long, long time coming.
I got 5 belts over there. You got 1.
It'll soon be over here. On September the 10th, I will become undisputed middleweight champion of the world.
We mentioned there how much of a 50-50 this fight really is, but when you look at both fighters stylistically, what do they each need to do to win this fight?
Good question. I think that is the million-dollar question. Claressa is obviously going to come in with a game plan. She's a lot smarter boxer than I feel people give her credit for. But Peter Fury has been looking for this fight for the past 3 or 4 years, and so they'll be looking to take things slow. They'll be looking to stay in each round. I don't think they're going to be looking for the knockout right from the get-go. But Savannah knows her moment will come, so if she can stay patient, if she can keep Claressa at a distance and stop her being as active as she'll want to be, Claressa will be coming forward and look to overwhelm Savannah, which she's done to almost every other fighter, in their face, very, very busy and winning rounds. And I expect that to be Claressa and staying out of trouble. Claressa has never faced a threat like Savannah Marshall. Whether she becomes more cautious than she usually would be, whether she becomes more closed up because she doesn't want to get caught, that's the beautiful thing about this fight. And I think the first time in women's boxing, as I said, we've got a puncher that could change things in an instant. And that's the beauty with this fight. If it goes the distance, you'd expect Claressa to be very busy and win a lot of rounds. That's not to say Savannah can't win on points, but you'd expect Claressa to be very busy. But as the rounds go on, there's that danger that Savannah starts to hurt Claressa, and once she starts to hurt Claressa, she's going to feel something that probably she's never felt before, and that's a test of a true champion. If she can come through this, then she can come through anything. It's a fascinating fight because you've got 2 different styles.
It's a great story with these 2 colliding again, and I think the fight, by the way, will live up to the hype. It's not one of these fights we're going to hype up and we're not going to see something. Claressa Shields is a girl that likes to come forward, likes to pick her shots. She puts lovely clusters of punches together. Savannah, very relaxed, very unorthodox, also likes to come forward but looks for the big shots. These 2 girls are going to lock horns from the first bell.
Anything can go wrong. I've always said this is a 50-50 fight. You can't beat unified world champions, double gold medalists, and say it's an easy night's work. You know, I'm preparing Savannah for all eventualities. Savannah's got to land them shots, and she's got to land them clean, you know. But there's one thing for sure, Claressa's going to get it. All the skills, all the feints and everything under the sun ain't going to stop an express train, because she's not going to stand there and wait for them feints. You know, she's coming forward, and believe me, she's a unit.
This is the middleweights. It is the biggest story. It's America versus the UK.
I'm obviously rooting for Claressa Shields. She's my Olympic sister. I'll always be rooting for her. I think the tricky thing about Claressa is that she has a very high punch count and a lot of speed for that weight class especially. You know, Savannah Marshall has proven to have power, but I don't think she's really been tested just yet against someone with the skill set of Claressa Shields. I think that her aggression and her combinations are going to overwhelm Savannah, and I have Claressa for the win.
Down goes Marshall. Down goes Marshall. Marshmallow.
There's a lot of highs and lows in boxing. It's a nice moment when they get in and they do what you know they can do.
Since I've been with Peter, I just feel like all aspects of my boxing games just improved, from my confidence, my strength and my boxing ability. I feel like he's just took me to the next level.
Touch your own thing, forget what his shots are doing, you've got your own pace, but you've got to throw quick light shots.
My dad is a very exceptional fella. You've got to listen to every word he says.
Nice and loose, steady. Block, make him throw.
He studies everything. He's a very clever man, my dad is, and everything he says always comes true.
Get on the front foot, just bob and weave. You just refuse to say no, don't you? You just carry on and carry on. There's no such a thing as negativity. You let negativity fester, you're a beaten man. This is well-level boxing.
Peter's changed my whole life, probably without me even knowing it.
Nice and low, Savannah, sway side to side. Where you go?
I never had any ambition to turn pro. I never watched professional boxing, was never interested. I had a plan to retire when I was 30, then COVID hit. So someone upstairs wants me to carry on, I think.
Don't try and look to land shots, just touch it up all the time. I've not seen anybody in the women's division, whatever the weights may be, to touch Savannah on power.
Are you the hardest hitting female in the world?
Ask Kiwi.
I've seen her wobble men a lot. She is a tough woman.
She's got some serious power. But the thing is, we don't rely on it. You know, we use that as a get out of jail card. Big punch will only take you so far in boxing. We've seen it over the years. Luckily with Savannah, we've got a very nice flowing elite boxer. We've got a boxer puncher, so you couldn't ask for any more really.
Self-belief. I think that is the fuel. Just believing in herself. That was the missing element. You know, she always had the skill, she's always had the power, but she hasn't had the self-belief. Now she has. That's why we're seeing her, you know, that's why we've seen the development of her in more recent times. You know, and it's been a fast rise as well. I mean, she's going to be difficult to beat.
One of my friends says that I'm institutionalised. I don't really know any different, but one thing that I think's, you know, kept me in this game for so long is I'll just love it. I love the training, I love competing, I love sparring, I love pads. I love boxing. Female boxing's come on leaps and bounds. Especially at the low weight, the high weight, you know, the pool isn't as deep, but you look at lightweight, there's so many women out there. Even in Britain, and it's going to get to a point in the UK and in Britain where girls are boxing for English titles, British titles, and it's so exciting. I mean, you only have to look 4 years gone when, you know, there was Katie Taylor. And there wasn't really anyone else around, but now there's, you know, you've got the likes of Tasha Jonas, Caroline DeBar. It's going from strength to strength.
I think you just have to look at the progression. I mean, you look at women, first of all, being licensed in this country only up until recently, weren't even able to box, and the breakthroughs that Katie Taylor has had, that Nicola Adams have had, that Tasha Jonas have had. But we've had stars, but we've never had a competitive division. We've never had real competition. And the middleweight division is the heavyweight division really in the women. It's the one where they can really punch, that's really attractive, that's going to get the casual fans in. But I think the landmark comes from the rivalry. I think it just shows how far the sport has come. For the very first time, we have 2 superstars, one in the UK, one in the US. Everything needs it, sport needs it. F1 with Hamilton and Verstappen, and tennis with Nadal and Federer, and then in boxing it's always been built on rivalries. Ben Eubank, Carnbrook, Frochgroves, Ali and Fraser, you've seen it all the time, and you can't grow the sport without those iconic rivalries. And I think this is a landmark moment because for the first time we have that rivalry within women's boxing.
We have so many big rivalries, so many great fights on the horizon, and it's what women's boxing needs. I'm excited to see who comes out on top.
I think I represent, when I say the greatest woman of all time, people think, you know, like Muhammad Ali, but was Muhammad Ali only great inside the ring? Absolutely not. For him to be able to inspire a young girl like me to be able to look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm black and I'm pretty. You know, he said it back when blacks were not allowed to say that we even look good. And I mean, he was just a man of power. He was a man of sticking up for his people, a man of equality. So when I say I'm the greatest woman of all time, it's like, yeah, I got the muscles and the bronze and I got the big voice, but outside the ring, I represent women in sports, women equality. It's other girls can be like, yeah, we love Serena, we love Beyonce, but I want to be like Claressa Shields. It means a lot.
Tell a story about when I was about 14. I went to a boxing club in Sunderland and I went there sparring, and when I got there the coach had pointed at me and said, "What's that?" And at the time I just pretended I'd never heard him, and I looked away and he went, "What's that?" He said it twice, and my coach had went, "Well, it's our female fighter," and he was like, "Female fighter? We don't allow females in here." And at the time I didn't like sparring, I'd rather hit the bags and the pads, so I wasn't too bothered, but I wasn't allowed to spar. So at the time I remember thinking, oh, well, I didn't want to spar anyway, but I think anyone else in that situation, that could have totally ruined their love of boxing for them. It's amazing to be seen as a front runner. I've never ever thought about it, but I remember when I was younger, I had an idol and I had boxers that I looked up to. And now when I'm getting messages, people saying, "Oh, I look up to you, I love what you do," it's kind of come full circle.
I hope that she knows that I prepared for this fight, and I'm a lot bigger than what I usually am, and I'm a lot stronger, and I'm way more in shape. So for this fight, since she wants to say she's gonna knock me out, I am coming over to prepare to knock her out. And I'm just ready to show her that it's levels, and that I don't call myself the GWOAT for no reason, and people don't regard me as the GWOAT for no reason. And the best woman will win, and I'm the best woman.
What it means to me to become Undisputed Middleweight Champion is, it's everything. It's everything I've wanted since I turned pro. I would describe Claressa as rude and ignorant. I think maybe that loss has got something to do with it. It's been 10 years since we last boxed. 100% the pinnacle of my pro career. I don't think that there'll be another fight like this. I just need one shot. All these years of waiting and building this fight up to be a massive fight. It just feels like it's finally here.
It's Great Britain versus America. It's always a